For a long time, people have felt that if there's something wrong in your head or something wrong emotionally, that it's fake. There's no veracity to it. That if you can't see it on an X-ray or chart it on a graph, then it's not real.
If I could help one person by sharing my story, I would consider, my job as a toll officer a complete success. I had a friend, and we had a math class together, and we just became like instant friends. I had never had such a connection with someone in my life, and we're the best of friends. And then about a year into the friendship, I learned that she self-harmed and that she was suicidal. And that just radically changed the dynamic of our friendship. I'd get phone calls in the middle of the night of her crying, and I just doing everything in my power to be there for her. I remember one time I got up in the morning, I had to go to like a meeting or something, and I had a voicemail from her, and it was her crying, and she was saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this, I don't want this, and I was scared. I remember thinking to myself that morning that this was it, that I just lost my best friend, that she had done something awful. But she woke up. But that was just the big oh moment for me, that oh, my life was not the best in high school. And so when I was a senior, I decided that I didn't want to eat anymore, because if I couldn't control anything else in my life, I was going to control my weight. And she was the one who sat me down and said, hey, I know you think you're doing the best thing for you right now, but you're not. Take it from me. This isn't going to go how you want. And that was one of the biggest things that saved me.
I've never found support here. I haven't really needed it to the point of because I already am, I have somebody that I see, that I talk to, that it helps. So it's not like I have these terrible days, but everybody has a bad day. And the thing is, when you suffer from clinical depression or clinical anxiety, which I have the grace of having both of those issues, there are days where your off days are really far off, and you want somebody to talk to, and it's like, oh, well, you could go talk to student services or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I want to go to the basement of a building and talk to somebody about an issue, and I don't know who they are. And it's like, I realize that I'm sure they're the best intentioned people in the world, but I don't really care. People already kind of think there's something a little off about that kid. But it's if I talk to somebody, good Lord, how much worse would that be? And then eventually I do cope with it, but the way I cope with it at that point is I just blow up. Now, I don't blow up on people. I'm not a physically abusive person. I'm not even verbally abusive to anybody, as far as I won't just yell at somebody. I'll just go in my room. I'll yell at myself. I'll tear myself down. I rip myself apart. I basically reduce myself to next to tears, and then we just start all over again. Because at that point, I've coped with it. It's not healthy, and I feel terrible, but that's how I deal with it. If I see somebody on campus, they're like, we'll protect your identity, whatever. I understand that. I trust them to do that. I don't care. I can't bring myself to see somebody in connection with TCU, because I associate TCU with kind of being ostracized. I think it's one of those things that in theory, it sounds great. I'd be like, yeah, I'd really like to talk to somebody about that. Would I ever actually do it? No. No. I probably should, but I just don't.
It kind of started just because I was in a toxic relationship with someone. Through that relationship kind of came jealousy, and kind of came self-esteem issues, confidence issues, those kinds of things. As I was getting deeper and deeper into this relationship with this person, those bad feelings were kind of building up more and more. Until it just got so bad that, I was suffering from a mental illness. I was going through this. I had depression. I went to go see the counselor, all that kind of stuff. But it was kind of okay, I saw a counselor, but I just still didn't feel great. And so I was kind of dealing with my feelings on my own, was basically how I thought about it. So I didn't really talk to my friends about it. The only person I talked to about it was the person that I was with, and that was just not a good idea. That just made it so much worse. But basically, I started self-harming when I was in high school. It started when I was in high school and didn't end until like my freshman year of college. It was, for me, it just felt like a release, and it felt like the only way I knew how to express my feelings. I kept it a secret from a lot of people. Like, I don't think I told anyone when I was in high school anyways. I mean, the person that I was seeing knew, but it was just not, it wasn't helpful. I was still depressed, I was still self-harming, and I started getting anxiety attacks a lot. After that, my toxic relationship ended, and for a while, it was really bad. But then I went to the counseling center here, and I just had one meeting with them, and I just felt so much better. Like, just being able to talk to them, just being able to tell someone about what I was feeling was just amazing. I stopped self-harming, and that was in November of 2012, and so I haven't self-harmed since then. And it's kind of something that I look back on and I'm like, wow, like, I was able to survive that, like, and I was able to, you know, be this person I am today. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself. And so now whenever I feel like depressed or whenever I feel anxious, I'm kind of able to see that and recognize that in myself, and then I'm able to go get help.
I wanted to be a counselor for a number of reasons, but the biggest one that sticks out in my head is that the work is too important not to do. TCU is a very amazing place, and there are so many students who are so driven and so dedicated to what they're doing, be it business, dance, education, science, film and television, that throughout their lives, they've had to be their own self-advocates. They've had to push themselves to be self-reliant, to be as good at everything that they do. What you end up with are a lot of people who are used to being the sort of rugged individualist that doesn't want to ask for help from anybody, because that would be a sign that they don't necessarily have what it takes to succeed. As for what students can do to help other students, I would say be available, listen, and don't assume you know the answer to what your friend is going through. Everybody's different. Everybody has had a completely different life experience from one person to the next. So being able to be available for conversation is very important. If you have a friend and they need to sit down and just vent, just listen.
I think it's awesome to have this idea of students helping students through mental illness because, you know, a lot of the times they don't feel comfortable going to the counseling center, or they just don't know what the counseling center is all about, so they feel uncomfortable kind of like unloading all of their problems onto the counseling center. So it's awesome that people feel like the members of To Write Love in Our Arms are kind of like a safe place. And by no means are we trying to say that we're as qualified of like mental health professionals as the people of the counseling center. Like, we are always like, hey, like, we're here for you, like, we will listen to you, but know that we aren't experts on this. And so we always encourage our members to, you know, go to the counseling center because we know that we can only help so much.
I think the support is there, but a lot of students don't know how to reach out for it. Counseling and mental health center, there's TWALA, there's, you know, all kinds of, you know, organizations and people ready to support the efforts of mental health. I mean, that's probably what, you know, TWALA's biggest thing is that we just want to put it out there that we're here for people, and that, you know, everybody has issues, and so we're here for you as you go through those issues. you have to keep fighting. You have to, just take that first step. As hard as it may be, you got to keep going.
Your story is important. People care about you. People would care if you were gone.
Understand how many people out there are like me that don't necessarily want to show you that they're hurting, but we're hurting. Understand how many people out there need to have somebody to be a friend to them. I don't care if they seem a little weird. I'm definitely a little weird. I get that. All right. But sometimes people don't necessarily need you to be their best friend. They just need you to be a friend.
You're not insignificant. Nobody's insignificant. You exist on the planet for a reason, and even if you haven't discovered what that reason is yet, you matter to somebody, and you should matter to yourself.